Hi, my name is Hobart Aiken. I'm the Cultural Resources and Exhibit Specialist for Tennessee State Parks. I'm coming to you today from Old Stone Fort State Archaeological Park in Manchester, Tennessee. And what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about was about the building standing behind me here. Now, buildings tell stories. And, a lot of people are familiar with our buildings at our Civilian Conservation Corps sites, our 1930s parks. However, in Tennessee State Parks, there's another generation of buildings that are important to the history of Tennessee State Parks as well, and those are those that are built in the 60s using money from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. The Land and Water Conservation Fund was set up in 1964 by Congress as a funding mechanism to get parks in places that would make outdoor recreation more accessible to more people across the United States. And Old Stone Fort was one of the projects that benefited from funds from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. The buildings that were built at this time are all pretty distinctive. A lot of them consist of having these kind of wedge shape to them with these dormers that allow in natural light. They're designed after a style of architecture that's really popular in California in the 1960s. After the end of the Second World War, the demand for outdoor recreation increased inside Tennessee exponentially. There are several years when visitation figures for parks doubled from year to year to year. And it led planners inside the system to really try and figure out ways for them to meet the demand for outdoor recreation. So in the 1950s, our department sponsors several studies to try and figure out ways to provide outdoor recreation for as many people as possible across the state. So Land and Water Conservation Fund, in addition to building a lot of infrastructure for recreation and providing opportunities for camping and hiking at places across the state, also opened up the ability of the state to acquire new types of parks that it had never really thought about pursuing before. There's a famous story that former state naturalist Mac Pritchard told about being in a meeting with Governor Clement, who brought everyone into a meeting and said that he wanted folks to go out and find the last great places left. And Old Stone Fort was one of those places. The Land and Water Conservation Fund made it possible for the state of Tennessee to purchase archaeological parks, to purchase new large tracts of wilderness, places like South Cumberland State Park. A lot of the lands there were purchased with Land and Water Conservation Fund. So the program has been a great success for Tennessee State Parks and for people who enjoy being outside and recreating. So I encourage you guys, the next time you visit one of our Tennessee State Parks, to take a look around and look at some of the buildings that you see, because every one of the buildings that you see and every one of the elements of the built environment of parks also tell a story. And so I'd encourage you the next time you visit one of the parks just to kind of take a second to look around and ask yourself about where those buildings come from and what they can potentially tell you about the history of outdoor recreation in the state of Tennessee.